My name is Trevor Williams. I'm 30 years old. I'm from San Diego, born and raised in San Diego. My wife and I, like I said, live in the Del Sur area. We have 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 girl from the ages 7 to 1. So we're having fun in our house, and we right now I'm in Florida. This is the beautiful Residence Inn of West Palm Beach, Florida. We live we We're leaving. I pitched for the Washington Nationals, so we're leaving Sunday to go up to Washington D.C. to be done with spring training, and the season will start, I believe, on Tuesday. So I can't wait to get out of Florida. If you guys have never been to Florida, I don't recommend it. So I have like a time limit for being in Florida, and this my time limit is up. But thanks for having me. Thanks for thinking about me, for having come on here. I am no theologian. I just love Christ and his church. So don't expect me to blow your minds with theology. I just love Christ and his church, and I love living out my faith. A little background on me. I grew up in the church. My parents took me to mass every Sunday. I was in CCD. I never went to Catholic school. However, I begged and pleaded, but never was able to go for one reason or another. But it wasn't until high school that I started taking my faith serious. I had a really good mentor growing up. I had a couple of really good youth ministers, and I had another mentor who really showed me, every decision you make is either going to build the kingdom of heaven or destroy it. And what decisions do you want to do, and what is Christ telling you to do to live your life for that way or another? I got into college. I went to Arizona State University to play baseball, and I studied history. But really, the reason why I did that was to study early church history, so I can have an apologetic background, and really deepen my faith that way. I was drafted in 2013 and have been pitching in the big leagues since 2016. So what this is going to be about, and you guys can stop me at any time. You can stop me at any time if I'm going too fast, or if you have any questions, but it's how to live your Catholic faith in a professional secular world. So I think for me, the root of, living your Catholic faith, for anyone living their Catholic faith, is, what's the most important thing in your life, right? Is it your academics? Is it your family? Is it getting good grades? Is it being a really good brother or sister, a friend? And I think for us as Catholics, the root of everything is our Catholic faith. And Christ wants us, he's given us these gifts, and he's given us these treasures, and he's given us this opportunity to live out our best faith. And he wants that for us. Now, in my profession, there are a lot of obstacles to authentically live that. However, what has helped me and what has made it easier is, coming back to that question, like, what is the most important thing at the end of the day? And it's my faith, and living out my faith authentically. I have been extremely lucky and extremely blessed with certain ministries in baseball, where I'm a part of this ministry called Catholic Athletes for Christ. And what they do is they provide mass at stadiums on either Saturday or Sunday. And I'm going to mass with coaches, players, stadium workers. And each team has a chaplain too. So to be able to go to confession before mass, I've said confession in the stands at Wrigley Field. I've said confession in the hallways with workers walking by, and to be able to tell my teammates that we have that option as well. What's fun, what is also nice, there's perks obviously of being in the big leagues, and one of those perks is the cities that we go to are big cities, and the hotels that we stayed are usually downtown by cathedrals. So there's daily mass always available. And I really do my best to try and go to daily mass when I'm on the road. Because if you don't start your day with mass, starting your day with mass is probably the best thing you can do. And I'm sure you guys go to have mass once a week, twice a week at school. I don't know
we have a staff mass that students can come to twice a week, and then we have mass for the whole school on Fridays.
Perfect. So today's Friday, right? Nice.
Yep.
So that helps me, live out my faith in a secular world. But truly the main thing is once you become unapologetically a Catholic, and then within this lens of professional baseball player, TV cameras, media, it's a tremendous responsibility that I have to remind myself all the time that there are reasons why I'm still continuing to play, and there are reasons why I don't know why. There's a lot better players than I am, and I continue to play this game and try and live out my faith as best as possible. But this responsibility of being in the public eye, and by being a Catholic athlete, where there's always going to be eyeballs on you, and people are waiting for you to kind of slip up and fall and say hey, I got you. I got you. You're not really a Catholic athlete. You're not really a Christian. You're not really living out your faith. So for me, really how do I respond with grace to a loss, right? Who am I blaming? Am I showing humility and answering my questions? When things are going great, is it, yeah, I'm this great baseball player, I did all these great things, or is it, God has given me this grace to have success at this level, to for whatever reason, to continue showing the world that people can live unapologetically Catholic. So that those have been the biggest challenges for me. But again, it's what you put your priorities into. How do you have a good prayer life? Well, you have to start by praying, right? You have to start by praying. Whether that's, waking up and the first thing you pray is an Our Father, or it's starting with, instead of a holy hour, you start with the holy 15 minutes, and then you pray the rosary every Friday, and you just start with these little steps. But by taking these little steps, they turn into great virtues. And that's what we strive to live as virtuous Catholics.
You said you're in spring training right now, is that right?
Yes.
And then when is your first game official?
I think our opening day is the 30th, so we have about a week left.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the travel like? You constantly traveling, constantly on planes and hotels, and what's that like? Yeah,
so we're on a city for 3 to 4 days, and then it's usually a 2-city road trip. So for example, if we go to New York for 3 days, and then we go to Philadelphia for 3 days, and then we come back to DC for about a week. So that's usually how the schedule's split up. We play 162 games in 180 days. So it's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of time away from family, about half the time away from family. But thankfully, my family comes and travels with me, and we also live in DC full time. So just during the baseball season.
Okay. So how often do your wife and kids get to come watch you?
Every game at home in DC, and then the Nationals. This is going to be my first year with the Nationals, so every team is different with how family can travel. But the Nationals allow families to travel with the team when we take either a train or bus, and we usually train to Philadelphia, because it's only about 90 minutes away. So they'll hopefully come out to Philadelphia. It's tough traveling with 4 kids, and if it's only for and if it's only a 3-day road trip, it's one of those where it's hey, I'll see you in 3 days. We don't need to make this stressful for anybody.
Peter, what teams have you played for?
Sure. So I spent 5 years in Pittsburgh for the Pirates, and then I spent half a year in Chicago with the Cubs, and then the last 2 seasons I played with the New York Mets, and then I signed a 2-year deal in December, so I'll be with the Nationals for at least the next 2 years.
Are there any other Catholics on the team?
Sure. On the Nationals, our strength coach is very Catholic. Like I went into their office the first day and he had a Saint Benedict cross mouse pad, and I'm like, no one has that on accident, right? Like, so we got to talk about that. Our GM is Catholic, which is cool. Like he's a lector when we have mass at the field. And then there's a lot of players that say they're Catholic, and then when you ask them, hey, let's go to mass, it never happens, unfortunately. But I'm pretty good at peer pressuring my teammates, so it's good to get guys to mass, especially on the road. Like if I'm going in the lobby, I'll send a text out to guys saying, hey, like I'm gonna go get some coffee. We go get coffee and go like, by the way, on the way back, I'm gonna go to mass. It's daily mass. It'll take 20 minutes. Like if you want to go, like, so it's but as far as like other players in the league that are Catholic, 2 guys on the Padres. Craig Stammen is a very good guy, a very good Catholic, very good friend of mine, and so is Austin Nola. So Austin's catching. I think Craig Stammen is just retired, but those are 2 great dudes.
How do you balance your prayer life with your like active sports life?
Yeah. So one thing that I do, and it's easier when someone else does it with me, is when I get to the field, the first thing I do is go for like a rosary walk. So like I've been going and praying the rosary with our assistant strength coach, just outside, just to get our day started. And this is going to be like, this is bad to say, I admit it, but like when I'm on the road away from my family, my prayer life is better, just because I have more time, and I don't have kids screaming at me from when I wake up until when I go to the field. But one thing that I try to pray every day is morning prayer and evening prayer from the Liturgy of the Hours, and then a daily rosary, whether that's at the field with a staff member or a daily rosary with my wife, and then trying to get to mass as best as I can. But for me, you do everything you can to, as an athlete, you do everything you can to prepare yourself to be a better athlete, right? Whether that's, you're in the weight room for doing a specific lift to strengthen your shoulder, or you're doing a specific stretch to get your hips in a better spot. It's the same thing with like your prayer life. If there's a vice that you need to work on, you need to pray and get that virtue. And I think that's something that, like I said, it goes back to, what do you prioritize? What's the most important thing in your world? And it's, if you're trying to hear the voice of God more, you need to spend time in silence. Like you need to go to adoration and spend time in silence. It's hard to train your ear if you're surrounded by noise all the time. So that's kind of how I balance it. Just like I do my like actual exercises, you have your spiritual exercises as well.
Do you have like a prayer that you say before every game? And like, why did you pick it if you do?
Sure. So it's a dangerous prayer, I like to call it. Just as simple as like, Jesus, I trust in you. So I have a crucifix in my locker, and you say that prayer like, Jesus, I trust in you, Jesus, I trust in you. And sometimes that prayer goes, Jesus, I trust in you, and I accept everything that's going to happen on the field tonight. Like, give me humility to accept that. And that's easy to say, because sometimes that humility looks like getting your butt kicked and like giving up a lot of runs and like having the team lose. And it's like, sometimes our prayer goes like, Jesus, I trust in you, but I'd love like 6 zeros today. I'd love like a win today, but that's why I call it a dangerous prayer. But I pray that before every start. And then before every inning, I pray the St. Michael prayer before I go out to the mound.
At what age did you start playing baseball?
At what age? Yeah. So, 5 years. 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 5 ye Since I can remember, I'm not athletic really in anything else. I happen to be really good at throwing baseballs. And I knew that from a young age. Like, I can't throw football, dude. I can't shoot hoops. I can't run. So I played baseball at a really young age, and I stuck with it. And then it wasn't until really college that I started realizing that this could become a profession for me. Yeah, so young, I would say, I don't know, 5, 6.
Where's your favorite place to pitch? You have a favorite stadium?
My favorite stadium as a home player is Wrigley Field. Like, there's nothing like Wrigley Field as a Cub player. It's all day games. The place is a party. It's a lot of fun, and the stadium is built up instead of out. So when it's built up, it feels a lot more crowded than it actually is. Even though it's a sold out stadium, but Wrigley Field's one of them. Petco Park's a blast because I grew up, going to Padres games, and I fell in love with the game of baseball at that stadium. Oracle Park in San Francisco is a good one too. There's a lot of really good ones. There's only truly like 3 bad ones, and
Okay, we have to ask, which are the bad ones?
Cincinnati is really bad. Oakland is okay. Tropicana Field is kind of tough. That's where the Rays play. But yeah.
Okay.
Do you have like a dream team? Like a team that you wish you were on?
My dream team is the team that keeps giving me a jersey to wear. as long as I keep getting a jersey, man, that'll be my dream team. But ideally, I mean, if I could live in one home the entire year and like be in San Diego, I mean, that would be the dream, just because that was my favorite team growing up.
Who's your sister-in-law?
It starts with Mrs.
Oh,
Mrs. Ortuño. Mrs. Ortuño.
So how did you meet Mrs. Ortuño's sister?
We were in youth ministry together. She is a year older than my sister. Mrs. Ortuño's sister's name is Jackie, and Jackie is my wife, and we met in youth ministry together. She dropped the Bible in front of me on purpose and said, "Can you pick that up?" And I gave her a look. I said, "You can pick that up yourself." And the rest was history. She went to Gonzaga. I went to Arizona State. We dated through college, and we got married in 2014. And so careful who you hang out with in youth ministry.
Who drops Bibles in front of you?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's funny.
Are you going for Gonzaga and March Madness?
Yeah, I am actually. I like what we do. And like I have teammates who love to gamble on sports, and I hate gambling on sports because I know how much of a crapshoot sports is. I know anything can happen. But I did get in our Sweet 16 pool, I did get Gonzaga. So I don't even know if they played today or yesterday or what. I just hope that they at least make it past the first round so I can get my money back.
How many like hours a week do you spend like playing baseball? Like, how much of a commitment is professional? Because it's obviously a job, but is it like similar to like another person's job, or do you put more hours than person, let's say, working like 40 hours a week in the normal job? How much more of a commitment than is like professional baseball?
Sure. So I'll run through my, since I'm a starting pitcher, I have a very specific schedule. And how much time and effort I put into my job is different than the next guy. And it's different than an everyday player, like a position player, for example. So on a normal day, if it's a 7 o'clock start, I'm usually at the field around 1 p.m. And then I usually get back home around 11 o'clock or midnight, and then that every day. So, but now, am I working that whole time? No. But so, for example, I pitched yesterday. Okay. So today is my day 1, and you pitch every 5 days. So on day 1, A day like today, I'll condition. I mean, I'm going to get to the field in about an hour and a half. I'm going to condition, which means run, which is what I hate. And then I'll review I'll review my game. 3 things I did well, 2 things I didn't do well, and then 1 thing that I need to improve on going forward. I'll watch the video. I'll wrap up whatever I did yesterday. And then I will start preparing for my next start. So I have the Yankees the next start. So I got to start watching video on the Yankees. On my day 2, the following day, I'll throw a bullpen. That's just side session. So it's like I'm practicing on what I need to improve on. And then I'll work out, run, etc. Study some more on day 3. I'll have like a shoulder workout, hip workout, little smaller muscle stuff. And then that's when I'll really start diving into hitters' tendencies on the Yankees. Like who swing at the first pitch, who swings at sliders more often than fastballs, etc. And then on day 4, it's the final like review before going into day 5 and start again against the Yankees. So if I'm at the field for 10 hours, how many hours am I working? It truly just depends, right? So like I will also go and watch my other starters. I'll go watch their bullpens to help them with their next start. We'll collaborate together on what I see in video versus what the other starters see in video on hitters. We'll game plan together where like if I have the third game of a series, I'll talk to the other 2 starting pitchers of that series and say like, hey, we're going to pitch Giancarlo Stanton, for example, inside for 2 games in a row. So that means by the 3rd game, he's probably going to be looking for fastballs inside. So then we can attack him another way. So just certain stuff like that. But I mean, it's an all day thing. But I love it. And I have a really good time doing it.
What about off season? What does off season look like for you?
The first week of the off season is nothing but pizza and donuts and resetting. No. And then after that, it's you train. And every off season you have a what you want to improve on, whether that's a new pitch, a new like body movement. Like if you felt like your shoulder was getting stuck in a certain spot, like what can I do to increase shoulder mobility or hip mobility or back mobility? So you work on that, and then it's just you put hay in the barn for the rest of the season. So however much hay you put in the barn in that off season should sustain you for the entire 180 days.
What's the fastest you've ever pitched?
The fastest I've ever pitched was 98 miles an hour. I don't nearly throw as hard as that anymore, but it's guys today now throw so hard, it's like not even funny. Like guys are throwing consistently 100 miles an hour, and I'm like huffing and puffing and screaming for like 91 miles an hour. But I'm a much different pitcher than those guys. But in college, I hit 98 miles an hour.
How many pitches usually, is there like a pitch count in a game that at that point they start thinking about pulling you, or?
Yeah, so I mean, usually starters get about 100 pitches, and that's when it starts getting dicey. I think the most I've pitched in a big league game is about 116, but usually that 100 pitch mark is usually when you get pulled, and hopefully that's 7 innings. And the reason why starters get pulled earlier now is because of how good the relievers are. Like there's guys in the back of that bullpen that are throwing 1 inning that are throwing, like I said, 100 miles an hour with really good breaking balls. So you get the starter out, he did his job, pitch 6-7 innings, and then get the bullpen guys to do their job too.
How many pitchers are on the Nationals?
There are 5 starters, which is every team has 5 starters. And then, gosh, I want to say 11 bullpen arms.
Okay.
Or 11 pitchers total. So that'd be what, 6 bullpen arms, 7 bullpen arms.
Okay. Any other thoughts for our high schoolers while they're seeing if they have any more questions?
Whatever you guys do, just build the kingdom of heaven. Make it the most important thing in your life, because that's what Jesus commands us. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I
happy
really appreciate it.
Friday. And you guys Go Crusaders, right? Crusaders.
Great, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Williams.
everybody.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
Take care. Bye.